Hey guys, and welcome to day 6 of Bloo Makes Christmas in 24 Days. Now, not only is it that video for day 6, but it's also part of the Christmas cookie recipe exchange from Jenny's Scratch Made Kitchen. So let's go, let's see what I did. Now, it's not often that Tanny makes a request, so when he does, I like to try and make it a little bit special for him. Now, I felt that his request for chocolate digestive biscuits was worthy of breaking out my stone mill and grinding the oats and wheat myself. So this process takes a little while. It took me about an hour and a half today because my arms take a bit longer to do things like this, but you know, the more I do it, the stronger my arms are going to get. So, you know, exercise and cookies, who can argue with that? Now, when I'm grinding my own flour, I like to sift it afterwards because sometimes I put a little bit too much in the mill at one time and it just makes the grains fly out the bottom rather than grinding properly. So, you know, there was a little bit of that going on because I got very excited about this one. So, we start off with approximately 1.5 cups of oat flour and 1.5 cups of wheat flour. Preferably whole grain or brown, whichever, wholemeal. However you guys say it wherever you are. And now to our flour, we're going to add 1 cup of soft light brown sugar. Now, digestive biscuits are not really a sweet biscuit, and I personally think next time I would maybe use half the sugar. So if you want a more savoury biscuit, use half the sugar that I've used. If you want a sweeter version, then 1 cup it is. And then you want to add 1/2 teaspoon of baking powder. Now you want to get all your dry ingredients mixed in really well together, because now we're going to add our 1/2 cup of butter. This is a little bit of an odd one for me. Normally I would use melted butter or room temperature butter, maybe a little bit of warmed butter rather than this. This is cold butter, and you're going to work the butter into your dry ingredients like you're making pastry. So you want to turn it into breadcrumbs and only use the tips of your fingers to do so. Now, due to the nature of the flour, which is quite coarse, it does take a while to do this. So I think we're going to speed it up a bit. Yeah, we are. So we're almost there, and the mixture is quite crumbly. It's as close to breadcrumbs as I can get it. So what we're going to do now is we're going to add 6 tablespoons of milk, and it has to be cold milk. Now you're going to want to work the dough so that it all pulls together, but you don't want to work it like it's bread or something like that, because we don't want the gluten strands to develop too heavily, and we just want the dough to hold together. Now, while I'm mixing this up, can I just encourage you to go and check out the playlist of all the other cookie recipes. There's some amazing channels that are involved with this year, and they could all do with you popping over and just, you know, enjoying their recipes. And don't forget, this is a Christmas cookie recipe exchange. So yes, there is a written copy of this recipe. It will be available on Saturday morning on my blog, along with all of the other recipes from this week. So there is a link to the playlist for the collaboration down below in the description, as well as a link to my blog, where you will find the recipe written in full from Saturday morning. Now, once we've pulled all the dough together, you're going to want to make sure that it sticks really well. It's still a bit crumbly for me. To be honest, I feel like I should have added maybe 1 more tablespoon of milk. Now you're going to want to put this into a disc shape and into the fridge for the next 15-20 minutes. So the reason for this to go in the fridge is so that the it solidifies a little bit more, makes it easier handling for rolling out. Now, rather than shaping mine into a disc, I just put it in a flat metal dish that I have, and that just worked just as easily for me, and it gave me the opportunity to push the dough a little bit tighter together. Now, once the dough's been in the fridge for 15-20 minutes, you want to bring it out, and I cut mine into quarters because it's easier for me to work with that way. I'm going to show you 2 ways to roll this out. The first one is the how not to do it, and the second one is the preferred way, and that makes life so much easier. Now, I did this first off with just the bare table and my rolling pin, and can I just tell you, no, let's not do that again. We're not going to do that again, because it's quite a crumbly dough. It just shattered, as you can see, and it just pushed itself away from itself. Now, if I'd continued working with the dough as it is there, I wouldn't have had any biscuits whatsoever. It just would not have happened, because there's literally nothing there to have. So I just popped all that to the side very quickly and came up with a plan. Now, I'm not a person who likes using a lot of cling wrap. In fact, I tend to not use plastic wrap if I can get away with it. And you can do this process with the rolling that I'm going to show you with the plastic wrap with parchment, or wax paper, if that's what you have. We've only got a little bit of the plastic wrap left, and we've probably... This is like 2 years old, I think, this roll. It's been a while. So, you know, I don't mind using a little bit for this. Now, the thing is, when you want to cover your table with 1 piece, and then you're going to put the dough down, and then we're going to put another piece on top of it. Now, what happens is when you are rolling this out, the dough actually sticks to itself rather than pushes itself away from itself. So now we're going to pop our dough onto our plastic wrap, and just make sure that you've got all the bits and pieces. Try and get as much into the middle of that piece of plastic wrap as you can. Once that's done, you want to try and straighten out your plastic as much as possible, so that there's not too many lumps and bumps, and you've got a really good surface to work from. Once you're happy with that, we can put our second piece on top, and you want to make it as similar to the bottom piece as possible. Now, this is where you're going to grab your rolling pin, and we're going to start rolling out our dough. Now, you want to try and make it longer in the longer length of the plastic, obviously, because you don't want this to seep out the sides. You want to keep inside. Now if you put a little bit of weight behind your rolling pin, it will push the dough together. Because the plastic wrap has actually stuck to itself, it's created almost a vacuum inside there where the dough has to push its way to becoming larger and longer. That being said, that means then that the dough actually is pressurized and is forced to stick upon itself. Now the other part of Tanny's request for his chocolate digestive biscuits was for me to make them with my gingerbread man cutter. So we're going to use two different ones. One's a little round fluffy gingerbread man, and the other one's just a little dude. So as you can see, as much as we pushed a lot of that dough together, it's still quite crumbly around the edges, so just be very careful when you're cutting these out. Maybe give it a bit more room than I did for some of these. Now the easiest way I found of getting these up was to try and keep them in the actual cookie cutter itself, or if they didn't stay in there, I got a knife underneath them to pull them up and got rid of the excess dough from around the edges. Now I rolled these out quite thinly, and digestives tend to be about twice the thickness of this, but I'm not unhappy with the result, and nor was Tanny. Out of a quarter of a batch, you could probably get 8 to 10 of this size of the little gingerbread men, or you could be, if you don't have any cutters at all, just cut it into squares, or get yourself a cup and cut around the top of the cup to have circles. Now using my other cookie cutter, which you may see shortly, I was able to get 15 out of 1/4 of the dough. So that's quite a lot of cookies at the end of the day, and if I just used the other cookie cutter, that would mean that I would have 60 cookies out of one batch. That's pretty good going. Now go in the oven for about 15 to 20 minutes on gas mark 5, which is 180 degrees Celsius or 350 Fahrenheit. Now, I don't know what happened here. I have a feeling that maybe a mix of too much baking powder and not enough milk could have been an issue. Maybe too much sugar, not sure. However, they still look like little guys, or kind of. Some of them do. Some of them look a bit dodgy. Other ones, you know, they're still cute. They're still edible, and you know, there was more to happen. Now before I put these guys on the rack, I left them in the tray for about 1 minute to cool off enough that they were able to be lifted safely off the trays and onto the racks. And once they cooled off completely, you can then coat them in whatever melted chocolate you would like. Now Tanny's favorite is milk chocolate. We actually really struggled to get this chocolate melted, and in fact the only way we could get it done was to add cream to it. Now that's never happened to me before, ever, and we're gonna definitely be changing up which variety of milk chocolate we'll be buying in the future, because there's something seriously not okay about that. Now these don't have to be pretty, they've just got to be coated in chocolate, okay? And the fact that they're little gingerbread men or gingerbread men shapes or whatever is enough, you know? They don't have to be Pinterest worthy, and to be honest, I really like them the way that they are, and Tanny does too. So apart from a couple of little tweaks that we will do to the recipe next time we want to make it, this turned out really, really well. It's a little bit more oaty than we were expecting, but you know, they were really yummy bickies and perfect for dunking with a cup of tea or coffee, which is what Tanny wants them for when he comes home from work. So thank you for watching, guys. I hope you've really enjoyed this video, and if you have, please do give it a thumbs up. If you're not subscribed to the channel, please do subscribe for more recipes like this and other shenanigans that occur on here. And leave me a comment down below. Let me know what your favorite Christmas cookies are, and I'll see you again tomorrow. Bye.